Guys, what is up? As I'm sure you know, yes, I have a movie review and I'm a huge Batman fan. So, of course, I saw Joker last night. Um, so, I have this review for you. It's going to be a little bit interesting because, as you know, or I'm sure you do, if not, I'm telling you now, I'm a huge Batman fan. I've grown up with the Joker. I watched the animated series. If it wasn't for Batman and Spider-Man, I joke about it because I say I wouldn't have been able to read. So I am definitely familiar with this character. And then this movie, it kind of comes off of um, it's its own standalone thing. It's not connected to any universe. It's not. There's not a sequel to it. It's just own standalone film. You know that Todd Phillips directed. He wrote it with somebody else. I can't remember his name. And stars Joaquin Phoenix and that kind of stuff. What I will say before you dive into the movie is the little bit of backstory and origin that I know of Joker is not much, just because there isn't really any of that in the comics and that kind of stuff. So what I will say is, with that being said, um, it's kind of this thing where the he was created in the 40s, maybe even 1940. Batman's 39. Um, and then what happens is, like a decade later, they talk about this Red Hood, where they don't really dive into it much, just he's a part of it. It wasn't until they created this graphic novel called The Killing Joke, where they kind of dived in to his origin story a little bit more. And what it was is, like, he's part of this Ace Chemicals company and that kind of stuff. And then this aspect of this Red Hood gang, like, he was just not wanting to do this anymore. He was take up this life of crime, start stealing stuff, make a lot of money, blah 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 blah, and all those kinds of things. And so it turned into that, where he donned the Red Hood and was part of all that. And then obviously it kind of goes to what everybody knows is, he falls in this pit of acid trying to escape Batman, and then his skin turns white and his hair turns green, blah 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 blah. We know that story. So not once, though, is his name ever mentioned throughout all the comics and that kind of stuff. And so then what it turns into is, I did look it up just to see, because in the movie with Joaquin Phoenix, his name's Arthur Fleck, and I was just like, man, has that name ever been used anywhere? The answer is no. There is one graphic novel where they reference Joker's name, and it's the only thing that I could find where they've ever said Joker's name in the comics, which is Jack Napier. Well, if you're French, it's Jack Napier. Just kidding. I'm not French. I'm sorry. I don't know if you would ever even say it that way. And the funny thing is that it was also referenced in the animated series with the Mark Hamill's voice acted Joker. So this is its own standalone film. They didn't have much to pull from, which honestly gave them creative abilities, because there isn't much source materials that they're referencing. The downside of that is they didn't have much source materials to pull from. So yeah, let's dive into this. Because what I will say is, I'll start off with the rating, instead of doing it in the back end like most people do. The story wise, I give the movie a 3 out of 5. Maybe 3.5. But it's in the middle ballpark. You're just past middle ballpark. For a Joker origin story, probably the world's greatest comic book villain created ever, for this to be his origin story, I got to give it a 1 out of 5. Like, it wasn't, it's bad. I mean, I'm not going to try and sit there and sugarcoat Joaquin Phoenix's the stuff that happens to him in his life, like as a kid, and what's in the movie and that kind of stuff. The thing that I just don't like about it is, what made Joker scary is the fact that he wasn't relatable. It was the fact that you had no idea what he was capable of, because you couldn't even relate to him. You don't know his name. You don't know where he's from. You could just, if you start relating with people and that kind of stuff, sympathizing, or just even like doing your work and that kind of stuff, learning people, you can just start develop and understand them a little bit better and make things more predictable and just all that kind of stuff. Oh, this is his MO, this blah blah blah. Joker doesn't have any of that. That's what makes him crazy. And I shouldn't say crazy, just what makes him, a scary villain. And so with this movie, just creating an origin story for him takes some of that away for me personally. For other people, they might like it. For me, I liked that mystery of it. It just was kind of the thing where, there's no more mystery about it if you embrace this as the true origin story. So let's dive into the movie a little bit, because we've seen in the trailers his mother's obviously involved. He's got a love interest. He's trying to be a stand-up comic and that kind of stuff. So we don't get comics confused, I'll try and say stand-up comedian. And obviously, he's kind of like this work for hire clown. He holds the, buy everything, whatever kind of sign and stuff like that. We've seen all these in the trailers. So you can just kind of assume it's going to be Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate events. And yeah, that's basically what it is. The thing with it is, actually, let me say this, because I don't feel like I can dive into it too much without giving away some spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, or if you haven't seen it and you're gonna see it, stop the film. I don't care about views, just stop the film. If you've seen it though and that kind of stuff, let's just go here so I can start touching about some of these topics, because I don't feel like I can dive into this and just give you my readings and reviews without saying some things, because there's a lot of politics in this movie. There, from the get-go, you have this rich versus poor, and which is whatever. Then you also have just the thing that I struggle with it a little bit, though, is it's a huge mental illness movie. So maybe they're trying to bring mental awareness. It's a huge topic right now. Joker has it. The mother has it. They try to even portray it in a way that I took it as Joker got his mental illness from the mother let her boyfriend beat him up as a little child, and all the head trauma and stuff like that, and it gave him this mental illness, and so he grows up, he just struggles with depression and all this other kind of stuff. He's on all kinds of medication, you don't even know what for, and it's still not enough. And so it's this aspect of like, just, somebody who struggles with a mental illness just finally snaps. And when he snaps, he feels true to himself, like he's found his identity. And it's just such it's not a topic to joke about by any means, because people struggle with this stuff daily. And so I know, so it's hard to, like, for me in some of these aspects, to when I go to see films, I kind of like to shut off from the world and just immerse myself into films and that kind of stuff. Movies like this that have such a close connection to the world and the politics and things like that, just obviously don't let you step away. It just makes you think about it, or at least it does for me. And with it being such a huge topic, it's just hard for me to embrace that and that kind of stuff, because could a mental illness person just snap and go crazy? Yes, but so can everybody else, and I don't know statistic numbers on the ratio and all that kind of stuff. Like, it just, I don't know. I hate thinking, there's a true message with it though, like, because obviously there's, I do like how they executed, like, there's when the violence just happens and things like that, the outcomes of things that happen, like even as a child, there's the beatings, molestation, all that kind of stuff. It does take effect on them growing up later. I mean, that's a very real topic. So the movie is definitely political. So go into it knowing that. So that was just hard to just fully embrace, because you don't. Here's the thing: you don't want to root for somebody like that just goes around killing. I mean, and knowing the Joker and that kind of stuff, you can't just be like, oh, I support this character, but you sympathize. Well, because I mean, you understand. I mean, it's terrible what happens to him. Even as a child, you find out. And then everything like him as an adult, he's trying to just make it by. He's trying to live a normal life. He's just struggling, and you sympathize for him. You feel bad, and that's why it makes it hard. You know what I mean? Because they took this iconic character and they gave him this backstory of something you would feel sorry for in a way, like how can I help him and that kind of stuff. Not like it's pity or whatever, but it's just how can you extend a helping hand, because then when he starts losing it, you're just crap that it's just a matter of time. So I just feel like I'm kind of ranting on that, but because it's just I still haven't fully processed that aspect of the movie yet, and so you're just kind of getting my vent. So there it is. There's other little things that I didn't fully like about it, the Joker, even the name and that kind of stuff was never that fully iconic to me. It just kind of randomly came out of nowhere. Because his mother kind of his catchphrase or slogan kind of in the movie, his mother kind of gave it to him. I can't fully remember what it was, but I'm here to bring laughter and make people happy. It's something like that, because even the mother calls him Happy as a nickname. And with that being said, not once is the Joker ever referenced or whatever. It wasn't until Robert Downey Jr. or not Iron Man, Robert De Niro was making fun of him and called him the Joker. So I just felt because then he goes on his show and he's like, hey, call me that again, basically. Now, for me, that was just such a uncool way to execute his name. There was nothing ever referencing the cards and that kind of stuff. There was nothing that just correlated with it. It wasn't, he was a funny guy and stuff like that. It was literally just because Robert De Niro just made fun of him, called him, the Joker, look at this Joker. So that for me, it was kind of pretty anticlimactic to name the movie Joker and all this other kind of stuff. And it's literally referenced twice. I mean, for the most part, the movie should have just been called Clown. And I feel like I would have loved the movie 10 times more if it was called Clown. And just hear me on that, just because I feel like this was trying to capitalize on somebody's created character already, And I feel like they could have done everything the exact same way, just change Thomas Wayne's name to something else, because they don't even reference, Wayne Industries and that. Well, no, sorry, they do. It's briefly mentioned and that kind of stuff because some victims worked for them and that kind of stuff. So it's not a huge aspect of the movie though. So you could have been anything. And so then, they don't talk about him as a medic or anything like that either, I don't think. It's just the big thing is he's running for mayor. That's why he's mostly in the film, that kind of stuff, and has popularity. And he's supposed to help the poor. And, so the Fleck family's like, well, perfect. We're poor. And it goes deeper in that. I didn't like... So, well, here, I'll just tell you. Supposedly, Joker and Batman are stepbrothers. Half-brothers. Not stepbrothers. Half-brothers. But then they try to change it, saying the mother's delusional and that kind of stuff. So, but but she adopted him anyway, so he's not even her son to begin with. So even at that, they try and still create some mystery for the Joker. At the end of the day, for all you know, though, Thomas Wayne, being so powerful that he is, he could have paid off all the doctors and have them, change the documentations anyways. So, who knows? I just feel like, if it was called Clown, though, I feel like it would have been really cool. Like, a lot of people like, wait, is this a Joker story? Opposed to now, people are going to watch and be like, is this a Joker story? So, I feel like it's a huge missed opportunity. I feel like they just try to capitalize on an already established character. And for me, it personally backfired. I think the cinematography was phenomenal. I think the score and the music was fantastic. I didn't see who did it. I do know it's out on Water Tower Music. So it's definitely worth checking out. It movie-wise, like, it actually helps it a ton. And I don't know if that's because Joker's originally kind of rumored to be created from a 20s silent film called The Man Who Laughs. So I don't know if they were like, okay, the music has to be on point. Because I personally felt like it was. The casting was phenomenal. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix crushes it. Even if I didn't fully like the story, I mean, I was going to say kills it too soon. So, this was a little bit longer of a video, and it did contain some spoilers, and you guys heard a little bit of just me venting. I didn't really think too much about what I was going to say before this film, and so here it was. So hope you guys liked the review. I know I'm even skipping a lot of things. Actually, no, one more thing, because I am so confused. So if you've seen it, please comment below and let me know how. But at the end of the movie, he's in the cop car and all that kind of stuff. They wreck it, well, just even with that, they kind of like give this praise, like some dude kills 3 random people in Gotham, where murder should obviously be a regular thing, but obviously this movie's correlating around this just 3 people or whatever, like as if crime never happens. So that was a little bit weird to begin with, and so it causes this huge just clown riot. Like, I mean, that would never happen. And so so it becomes this like celebrity, and so they ran this cop car and they bring him out or whatever. Like, they're already kind of just like worshiping him. So here it is. You see him at kind of the end of the film. He's up there and he's got just this huge mob of all the clown thugs, his crew now. And then boom, the next scene you see is he's in cuffs at Arkham Asylum in the psych ward, basically. And it's just like, how in the world did they capture him? Batman doesn't exist yet. Bruce Wayne is like this tall. And like that makes no sense to me. Like, yeah, I can't. If somebody could please fill me in on how that was even possible to go from, I have a huge horde of people just containing this whole area, how a cop's gonna come in and arrest the Joker. Come on. So I'm definitely confused and baffled by that. And that's going to be how I end this thing, because I feel like I could just keep talking about this because I'm already thinking about other things about the movie and that kind of stuff. So overall, the cinematography and that kind of stuff, the acting, everything like that was great. I definitely give it a 3.5 out of 5. I just didn't like the story. For 2 reasons. One, I just don't like it as a Joker origin story. I wish it was just called Clown. And then the politics. It's a very real issue and things like that. And I just like to see movies to sometimes get away from politics, especially movies that hit a little bit closer to home for me. So those are the 2 things that I got to strike as negatives for me. So thank you so much, guys, for watching this. Like I said, if you know the answer to some of this stuff, or if you disagree with my comments, or if you like them, please comment below, fill me in. If you like this video, push the like button and hit subscribe, obviously, to keep up to date with the next film. Let me know if there's ones that are coming out that you think I could watch, enjoy, and be a part of. So thank you, guys.